Hey, everybody. Welcome back to the Smarketing CONNECT podcast. I am your host and the CEO of Smarketing CONNECT, Tom Libby. And I am bringing in one of our newest members to Smarketing CONNECT to kind of get to know Rick. Rick, our first question of every podcast episode like this is just to have you introduce yourself. So tell everybody who's listening who you are, what you do, the name of your company, and what the company does. Give you a couple of minutes to kind of run through it for us.
Yeah, hello everybody. My name is Rick Forbes, founder and owner of Forbes Copy. It's a digital marketing, well, I'm a digital marketer that focuses primarily on email strategies. Email strategies is one of the biggest things that most businesses are overlooking. Instead of having the actual strategies, they just want quick implementations of tactics. I go in and overhaul that so where past clients come back and they bring in the new ones for you.
That's actually quite interesting. So you help them with the strategy. Do you actually like, because I know I agree with you and I understand what you're saying. People tend to think, hey, I should do email marketing. They just start sending out a bunch of emails without any rhyme or reason to them or whatnot. So do you help them with the strategy, but do you actually help them with the implementation as well, or do you just let them do that once you get the strategy down? How does that work for you?
Yes, great question. I do a little bit of both. I can write the copy, implement the strategies, and I can help clean up the deliverability on the back end. It's just a little extra feature. I don't primarily focus on that.
Sure.
However, it's additional bonus because I want to see the emails hit the primary as opposed to the secondary or the spam, hell, even the promotions folder.
Yeah, I sent somebody an email the other day and it went to promotions. I didn't know. It's the first time it's ever happened to my email, so I didn't know why that happened. It was weird. Anyway, okay, so tell us a little bit about the kind of companies or the size of companies that you typically work with. What is your what does your client base look like? Who do you want to as clients? What do they look like?
But right now, primarily, I'm focusing on dental practice owners and spa owners. Been in the game for at least about 2 years who have a some type of footing established in their local community. That way we can overhaul their email marketing system, bring back past clients or patients, fill up their calendars year round without fear of, seasonal changes. And people always forget the reminders are the most important things. The but as to who I can work with, it's pretty agnostic. Just about, I want to say 89% of businesses out there need efficient email marketing. And the size is, well, let's keep it modest, about let's say up to 1 million.
So up to $1 million in revenue. So these are really these are typically people who are basically a one-arm paper hanger, right? Like they're wearing every hat in their company, and you come in and you at least alleviate them from that one hat, which is quite cool. Very good. Okay, so tell us a little bit about so a little bit different type of question. And I have a feeling based on what you do for a living, I know what your answer is going to be, but I'm going to ask the question anyway. So, in your opinion, small businesses have an access, sorry, small businesses have access to an abundance of tools. But in your opinion, there's got to be one or two that are absolute must-haves, right? Like, so to your what would you say to a small business owner that was just getting started that they have to have this tool? What is a tool that they must have right now?
I would have to give a shout out to Troy Erickson's patented tool where he literally will get you, it's a software you download. So where any email that you send, no matter how much HTML is in it, the size of the email, the videos, all the photos in the world will ultimately override Gmail's algorithm or however it does it. I do not know the specificities, and it will make sure your emails land in the primary. That's one of them I highly recommend. And the other one would be MX Toolbox. That way you could do your own email audit. It's a free tool everybody could use. It'll help you with the DMARC, DKIM. It'll even give you SPF records if you're lacking it. Uh, Literally everything that you want for your audit is on MX Toolbox.
See, so I knew it had to do something with email. That's why I prefaced it by saying it the way I did. um, so so we understand. I'm going to ask a question that's a little bit different. It's going to seem easy to answer, but I don't want you to answer it right away. I want you to just hesitate for a half a second to make sure you get this part. So because because of what you do. So you're really you're so focused on email. When I ask this question about challenges that business owners bring you in to solve, I don't want it to be as simple as, well, we want email, right? So I because I know that's what you do, but there has to be an underlying problem they're trying to solve with their email, right? So that's what I'm trying to get at. So what is the real problem they're trying to solve when they bring you in to help them with their email marketing?
Good question. And from the businesses that I've worked with, few of them want revenue right now, whether it be their child is going through college and they need to pay off the intuition, or if they got medical school that they need to pay off bills, they need revenue right now. Emails could help do that. Another issue would be authority. They in your local community, you're not the only business in your local community. So how do you separate yourself from all the others? Direct communication. Being that word of mouth will always be number one, the number two way to market would be emails. Everybody has to have an email. Not everybody has to have a car, phone, or house, but they do have to have an email. Shows how the values of where we live in. So direct contact reminders are exactly what they are looking for. However, they don't know what they're looking for when it comes in terms of that. They assume like, hey, I heard email is a great way to bring people in, but how? It's more of a relationship based mannerism is what emails are. It's yes, it is a marketing tool, but it is relationship building.
Interesting. Okay. So I probably have a bunch of follow-up questions to that we don't have time for today, but we'll leave it right there. We'll leave it there for now. So what about, so let's pretend for a second that you were talking to a small business owner and they said to you, I'm going to be hiring a sales and marketing agency. What would be the most important piece of advice you would give them when hiring that agency?
Most important advice that I would give would be take your time and thoroughly ask every question, such as if you were the old saying, hire slow, fire fast. Same thing, you were essentially taking them onto your team to handle your challenges. Vent them thoroughly. Do not come across the first Google search that you find just because they have a pretty website. Ask questions, ask for referrals, word of mouth, get everything you can before making that decision. And if they're a newbie or a freelancer, see if they have testimonials, case studies. Show me what you can do. Show me what you know. And don't hire off of gut instincts because it can lead you astray. We need statistics and facts, especially when it comes to your business. Be very thorough.
I like that too, because in the other thing, one question, and I don't think I've ever said this on this podcast before, but one question I often recommend to people who ask me this question, like they come to me and say, "Hey Tom, I'm looking for a marketing agency. What should I be, whatever." This is one of the reasons I asked this question on this podcast because I like to hear other people's thoughts on this. But I always tell them to ask them if they'd be willing to let them talk to a past client, not a current client, not a testimonial, like somebody that I want to know, would you be willing to give me somebody that it didn't work out? And if I talk to that person and that person tells me it didn't work out for the right reasons, then we should do business, right? But if you're not willing to give me a past client that it didn't work out on, then I think that's a problem. That's a red flag, right? Like
Big
because
red flag.
you can't be everything to everybody, and you're going to have failures if you're in this business long enough and you're a consultant long enough. You're going to have failures. How you handle and manage those failures, I think it can be just as important as all of that case study and testimonial stuff, right? So that's why I asked the question. I'm always looking for new ways to give small business owners some little nugget of like, you should definitely do this before you hire one of those people. Anyway, so on a more fun note, this is one of my favorite questions because this usually sparks some interesting debate that never has anything to do with business. So, uh, so Rick, I like asking our guests just because I don't know, just to make it so that it's not so mundane and business all the time, all sales, marketing, whatever. So I like to ask people if you could be a superhero, who would it be? Tell us why.
Deadpool, easily the anti-hero, not because of Ryan Reynolds, and I liked Deadpool before Ryan Reynolds even was on, was it X-Men?
Yeah.
Before he had his mouth covered and that was that whole debacle with that. No, I liked him just because he's weird, wacky, zany, and he kicks ass. He does things his way, as we all should do. I oftentimes tell people like I don't see a box. When they say think outside a box, I don't see a box because I don't want to be limited to what I'm looking at. In Deadpool, he could break the fourth wall. And so he's essentially immortal. Well, regenerating. He can be killed, but we're not going to get into that whole scene. But like it would definitely be Deadpool.
Deadpool. So that's that I think you're the first person that's made mention to somebody who, I mean, technically he's really not a hero. He's not a superhero, right? Like you
He's
called
an
him,
anti-hero.
he's an anti-hero, but it's I don't think of him as an anti-hero either. I think of him as what would happen if a regular guy had superpowers, right? Because
Yeah.
they just wouldn't give a care in the world. Like they would be, there'd be some greediness to it. There'd be some like, and I think he embodies that, right? He's like,
Oh yeah.
he still acts like a regular guy. This idea or concept of once you get superpowers that you have to be once you get superpowers, you have to be above the human instinct, you have to go above the human element. And he's like, F that. I was human first. So I'm just gonna be I'm gonna
Yeah.
maintain the human element. So I think that's interesting. Okay, last question here. And this again is one of the things about Smarketing Connect for us that we really want is to continue to pay it forward, to continue to try to help somebody else out there, and of course to get more people on the podcast itself. We ask you to give us a shout out to somebody in the sales and marketing consulting world that you think deserves to be shouted out because they do a really nice job. You've worked with them in the past, or you've had clients shared together, or something like that, where you think that they deserve somebody to give them some kudos and say, hey, I was thinking about you today. I just want everybody else to think that you're a good person, you're good at what you do. And then of course we'll tag them on this when we post it on social media, so they're going to know that you were thinking of them. So who would you pay it forward to?
In the marketing world, I would have to go with my mentor, Ed McDonough. He's the only person in 30 years that actually helped me formulate a strategy, a structured plan, and even a single thought for marketing. He actually gave me like, hey, you should go over here, try this, as opposed to just leaving me out to fend for myself as everybody else has done. I, I can't thank that man enough.
Can you imagine a mentor that actually cares about you like
It, it, it,
that?
I never thought it would be possible. Like I truly did not think that anybody was out there. I when I went met Ed, I we met at the coffee shop and was like, I want to pick your brain. I just want to know questions on how you got started. And one of the questions is, so what do I need to do so I can work underneath you and learn? Because nothing's in this world's free, in my eyes anyway.
Yeah.
So like, let me work for you. I'll do whatever. Just teach me. If you need me to go beat up the menacing hobo down the street, by all means, I'll go beat him up for you. Just teach me the marketing strategies and stuff. Ed took it out of his heart, and he was like, "As long as you pay it forward, we don't have a problem."
Wow.
And I till this day, everybody who asks me for help, I give it to them because I know what it's like not to have any help.
Yeah. Agreed. And I've known Ed for a long time, so I would agree with you there, 100%. So Ed is a very good mentor. He's a very good sounding board. He's a very good. He's just a genuinely good person to know, and just in general. Never mind, even outside of sales and marketing. And now anybody listening to this is going to think that both you and I worship Ed, and that's not the case, everybody. We just Ed is a good guy though.
All
Anyway,
hail.
yeah, yeah. All together now. Ed. No, I'm kidding. I'm just gonna edit that out. No, I'm not editing that. Anyway, all right, Rick, wrapping this up. So I appreciate you. Thank you very much for coming on the podcast. This will we'll just kind of wrap this up here. And I just give you the last word here just to say, thanks and so long. But thank you very much for being on the podcast today.
And thank you for having me, Tom. It was a pleasure and an honor to be up here, and I can't wait to do this again.
All right. And for everybody else out there, keep selling.